Jag minns ju den tid du gav mig life billar, yo. Nu vill jag kunna ge tillbaka allt jag inte kunnat ge förut. Det finns ingen annan där som kan stå här by my side, oh why. Sättet du rör på det får mig att dö för det, baby. För de här yardis, de vill ju bara dra ner oss. Men du är fett och vanlig. Och det jag lägger av min tid, jag vill ha det. Du får mig känna safety. Jag kan nog leda, baby. Och jag kommer aldrig ändra mig. Aldrig. Kommer aldrig känna. Jag minns ju den tid du gav mig life billar, yo. Nu vill jag kunna ge tillbaka allt jag inte kunnat ge förut. Det finns ingen annan där som kan stå här by my side, oh why. Sättet du rör på det får mig att dö för det, baby. För de här yardis, de vill ju bara dra ner oss. Men du är fett och vanlig. Och det jag lägger av min tid, jag vill ha det. Du får mig känna safety. Jag kan nog leda, baby. Och jag kommer aldrig ändra mig. Aldrig.
In the hold of the Amistad, you had Mende people, mostly Mende. You had Bandi, you had Temme, you had Gola, you had Kono, Sherbro. How do they cooperate?
When they don't speak the same language.
No, that is an assumption you're making. The Bandi, the Gullah, they will speak Mende, the Shabros will speak Mende, all right? And some Konos will speak Mende. But there is one other common strand you've not seen.
What is that?
They are all members of the Poro. Being a member of the Poro society is a secret society, but it goes across tribes. And all the tribes you've called all have it. They also had certain things in common. The secrecy, the oath, and the loyalty to that secret society could have brought them together.
The Poro society was central to the rebellion. Central to their ability to organize themselves.
It goes across the tribes.
The point, because there were 9 or 10 different ethnicities in the hold of that ship.
Greetings, world. How y'all doing out there? Salute, Baba Kimo. What's up, man?
Hey, Chief, how you doing? Good morning, man. I know you're feeling a little under the weather this morning, but we will get it done. Welcome to the Gullah House Show.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Sorry, guys out there. I have my mouth is swollen. Got a toothache. Didn't feel too comfortable going on the screen today, but I'm very, very, very excited to be here to have this conversation with our sister, Arthur Bernice Johnson, coming straight out of Bowman, South Carolina. Of course, y'all know where that is, Orangeburg County. If you don't know, now you know. And she's ready to come here and tear it up, give us some true knowledge, drop some gems. And just real quick before I pass it to Baba, I just want to say how I came into knowledge of the sister is that Baba went to an event, and maybe he can touch on that as well. Shout out to our brother, Dr. Curry. Went to an event recently and met this sister, Bernice Johnson, and he was so impressed with her presentation and just her knowledge and just her energy. He came back and said, "Hey, cuz, we got to get Bernice on the show." So here we are. It's showtime. Baba Kimo, I digress.
That is exactly right, Chief. A couple of weeks ago, I was at Humanities Festival at the library, and I saw this short little young lady. She was getting her presentation ready, and I felt her energy. She was there with Dr. Curry and Sister Myra Davis, and I just felt her spirit. So I wanted to bring her on and let her tell us about her book and what she's into.
All right. So I believe with no further ado, it's time to bring our sister to the stage, and let's get into this interview, man. I'm very excited. I have a lot of questions. Because she's so deep, No further ado, our sister, Arthur Bernice Johnson.
Hello.
Greetings, sister. How you doing?
I am well. I'm hoping you feel better soon. I heard you say you was a little under the weather, but you'll be just fine. Just take a little bit of time.
For sure, for sure. Thank you very much. I'm doing my best. Um, so typically, the first question is, who, in your own words, is Bernice Johnson? And then from there, we're gonna roll on.
Well, Bernice Johnson is a little country town girl. Came from Bowman, South Carolina. Um, she is a mother of three, grandmother of four. She enjoys journaling, and she wants people to know that because when I started journaling, I just wanted people to know that what you what the mistakes you made in life does not define who you are going to become. So that just pretty much Bernice Johnson. The little scrapes and bruises that I got along my way, I just want to share it with the world. It doesn't define who you are. And that's Bernice Johnson.
That's beautiful.
Oh, Bernice is shy. She wears many hats. She wears many hats. I know that she is she's in the insurance business. She
Oh
has
wow.
she has more than one book out there, but we're gonna discuss her current book. But
Uh-huh.
and Bernice is a trailblazer. She's a titan in the game. You know.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you for adding. Yes, I am. I do have several. I want to say this is my six. I can't keep up. It's so many. I also write poetry. And I am in the insurance business, been in the insurance business over 20 something years. But my passion is journaling and writing and poetry, honestly.
That's right. Oh wow, that's beautiful. And you're so humble with it. You like, yeah, I'm just a little small town girl from the
I,
bird, from Bowman, and I watched you on another show, and I was like, man, this sister's so humble, man. She don't even understand it. And I want to get into the questioning because I asked you the first one, who is Bernice, Johnson, but tell me this.
uh-huh.
Growing up in Bowman, what was your family, school, and like cultural life like? Can you paint that picture with words for us?
Well, growing up in Bowman is a very, very small town. It had a little less than 800 population. It's a very rural area, dirt roads, fields, cows, cattle, hogs, everything you could think of. We had it, we did it, we seen it. Farming, soybeans, everything. There was no growing up as a kid, there was one grocery store, there was one pharmacy and one gas station.
Oh
And
wow.
and we live miles and miles and miles away from those particular what we call the main points that we need to get to. But we live miles and miles away from them. So if you didn't have the right transportation, then you just had to, you had to get a neighbor of a neighbor of a neighbor to get what you need and bring it back to you. There's no traffic lights. There's one caution light on the main street of Bowman. Um, and back then there was no library. That was just pretty much it was field farmland. Just it was just country, long dirt roads. We walked almost a mile just to get to the bus stop.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, Bernice, I think you know a friend of mine. Um, it's not even a friend. It's my wife's cousin. I saw him on your friend list. A guy named Andre Wilson. Are you familiar with him?
I'm familiar with Andre Wilson. Yes.
That's my wife's cousin. We call him Doobles.
Okay.
So
Wow.
we got a little connection down there in Bowman. But you're right, Bowman is a little small place. I used to be a maintenance man at the at the local school down there for a couple of years. So
Okay.
I know a little bit about Bowman.
Okay.
Right. So let me ask you a question now.
Uh-huh.
Because it sounds a lot like how the majority of the rural South is, where we like out there almost like in like 100-year time warp. We 100 years behind. It would fill with the lack of lights, infrastructure, and things like that, lack of development reaching those rural areas. this morning I seen a post on Facebook I shared with Baba about a community, or at least an initiative to start a low income trailer park near the community of Springfield, I believe it is, and how the community there is like, no, we don't want it, we don't want it, we don't want it. It's almost like the people who are there are fighting against any level of development that wouldn't be to their benefit. And you know, we often look at how communities in the low country, particular, on them islands, were so far removed from development that they kind of got trapped. You understand? And breaking the isolation now is very, very important. So we have these communities that are so rural and isolated right there in Orangeburg that they might as well be islands. They might as well be islands because they got the same situation as what I'm hearing some of these islands have. And I want to ask you, what do you think the pathway to bringing development to these areas is? And then I want to go into your book after that.
I think the pathway is what I think we're missing as far as small communities. Even for myself, I left the small town of Bowman, but I come back on a weekly basis. We need to understand that even though we leave that area and that area is not, doesn't have lack a lot of things, if we're in a position to go back to give back, make our voices heard, there's a lot of things that we can do, even if it starts with one person. We only need that one person, to get the ball rolling. We need to understand that if we keep quiet and just accept what's going on or the light that we have there, then it's going to be okay. They just not going to do anything about it. If we don't say anything about it, they're going to feel that we feel it's okay. So we need to, get to the root cause and find out exactly what we need to do. Even the ones that left the town of Bowman or Orangeburg County, we can come back and come together and speak up so we can bring back things to those small towns. Like Bowman doesn't even have a grocery store anymore. And it's been some years since it had a grocery store. The grocery store caught a fire.
Yeah, IG.
It was IGA, and it never got rebuilt. So the residents of Bowman have to go to the neighboring communities like Orangeburg or St. George or Santee just to get groceries, or they pick up, a little bit of things here and there from like the Dollar General and the Family Dollar that's there. But that still does not suffice for a grocery store. So we just have to, we need to get together and as natives of Bowman and of surrounding areas to come up with a plan to make that pathway available to bring back to, things to those small communities that they really need.
Absolutely.
That's a great answer. That's a great answer, Bernice. I like that answer. Yeah, we do need to give back to the various communities around here in Orangeburg. They need some help.
Yes.
But the title of your book is "Keep On Keeping On," and your growth will bear fruit to feed others. Now, you use that acronym, growth.
Yes.
So can you tell us, you could start off with the G and tell us what, growth stands for and all that?
Yes, I will. Well, growth is just what it seems. That sounds like growth. But the G is grow where you're planted. And do you want me to talk on it one by one, or you want me to go through the GROWATH?
Just go through like you normally do your GROWATH.
Okay.
Tell us what growth stands for.
Okay. So the G stands for grow where you're planted. I chose that chapter because grow where you're planted, because there are times where you will be planted in a place that may not be ideal for you, but that doesn't mean that you don't have the drive. You don't have what it needs that you need to get where you're going. You just have to understand that sometimes you're going to be in a situation that's not ideal, but You can still flourish. You can still grow. You can still become, you can still become who you want to become. It may not be the ideal at that time for you, but if you catch root on where you're at and start to bloom that flower, eventually you can move to the next step, to be, a part of the journey of your life. So that's why I chose to grow where you're planted, because I was planted in Bowman, South Carolina, that small town that didn't have a whole lot of opportunity, but I made the best of the situation I was in at that time. So that's what the G stand for. Okay.
I like that.
And then the R is recognize your root cause. And the reason why I chose that one, because again, coming from a small community, sometimes you tend to go astray because you see what others do, and you tend to think if they do it, it's okay. That's what I'm supposed to do. That's just part of the community, and I'm just gonna go with it. That's not always the case. You have to recognize exactly, is it toxic for you or is it causing you to prosper? So you have to recognize your surroundings, the people you hang out with, the circle association. What are they doing? Is it beneficial or is it going to get you in trouble? So that's where the R is recognize your root cause. And then the O is observe your FOIA method. And FOIA is also an acronym, but I'll get into that in a second. You have to learn how to focus on yourself every day regardless, which is what FOIA stands for, FOYER. Because if you don't focus on yourself and understand that you are responsible for you, then you will fall for anything. Like my dad will always say, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. So that's what the O is for. Observe your FOIA method. And then the W is weather the storm to prepare for greatness. There's going to be some storms that's going to come in your life. Some storms are not there for destruction. Some of them may be to get you on the right path. You might be headed in the wrong direction. And that storm may be your detour to knock you back on course because you were going off course. And that's the W. Mm-hmm. And then T stands for track your progress. You can see your progress, whether your progress is good progress or bad progress, because progress is progress. Even if you can see your progress, even if it's bad progress, if you take 2 steps forward and 3 steps back, it's a learning. That's a learning curve. You actually saw the mistakes you made. So you made progress. You actually saw what you did wrong. So you know what not to do next time. And then as far as the positive progress, we all know you could track it. Just like with me, I just started my author journey last year, August, with my first chapter in an anthology. And since then, I've been featured in 5 books that I wrote my own, so 6. So that's the way I can actually track my progress. I can see exactly where I came from and where I'm going.
Way to be, yes.
Exactly. And then the H is harvest the fruit to help others. It's not always about you. You have to realize that once you get to a certain place in life, you have to reach back and help others. You have to go back and help get other people on track. So that's where you're harvesting the fruit. You're like, for me, and for the think about it, it's funny that you just said it earlier, that I'm so humble. I didn't realize it, that I made a post about me being, Bowman now has their first library. I am the first native of Bowman author to be placed in that library. So I'm on display. So I had somebody come and reach out to me, and they were so excited. They was like, so when I write my book, I need to get my book in the library, because you just opened up a door for me. You're like a trailblazer. And I didn't think about it, because that's just who I am. I'm just humble. I can't help it. I get that from my grandmother for sure. So it's like I harvest fruit to help feed others, because I open the door for them to see the possibility. If I can do it, they can do it also.
That's very good. That's great. And when I saw the title that in your, when I saw that in your book, I was thinking of how can me and Fode apply that to what we do. And you're absolutely right. When we started out a few years ago, you wouldn't believe what we have been able to find out the last couple of years. It's been amazing. So we have grown. We actually can track our progress, and right now, we're harvesting the fruit, just like you said. Just like you
Absolutely.
say. I mean, we can use your acronym in what we do. I'll put it like that.
Oh yeah,
Awesome.
oh yeah. I wanted to say that as well. I think the acronym is powerful because it embodies deep thought. It's wisdom. It's not just words thrown together. You can make an acronym out of anything. We can say, fish. Let's make an acronym out of fish, and just make up stuff. But your explanation is indicative that you actually brought from within yourself and put it into the acronym. The acronym really represents what you're offering to the people. It's really the fruits of your harvest. And
Yes.
so I definitely commend your work in terms of that. Just having the ideal to say, you know what, even though I'm from what most people out there would say is a small place, a disadvantaged environment, I got something to bring to the table in terms of discussion, in terms of wisdom and guidance, because, most people probably never in their life ever heard of Bowman, South Carolina. But now they're going to be able to say, well, I have an ideal about Bowman, and I've seen the face of a sister from Bowman, a native. And it's a beautiful thing. So just like Baba was saying, every aspect of growth, the acronym, is applicable not only to what we do, but I believe that it has a universal nature to it that can be spread. And that's why I believe Baba and me too, I also wanted you to break the acronym down. We didn't even know that we both wanted to ask the same thing, but I wanted to do that as well. Because I think it's just what it's really all about. We also use acronyms. Our organization is the Gullah Nation of North America, but we call it GNONA. So it's the use value. Um, I want to ask you, do you have any other background in terms of journalism other than what you've published as an author?
No, I just started. I've always journaled, but I never put, thought that it would be published. But that's the only background I have, is me being an author. I'm also a poet. I have a published poem out there. And I have a journal of poetry that will be published soon. So, like Baba says, I wear many hats.
That's how you remember DeAndrea.
Yes.
That's how DeAndrea described you. She was actually the first one to tell me about you, because she knows what me and Chief are into, and she made sure for me to look for you when I came in that morning at the festival. She said, "Look out for the little short lady now. She's gonna be standing next to Dr. Curry." And so I browsed your book, and you also said something about your inner strength and your grandmother, and I believe your grandmother helped you develop that inner strength. So
Yes.
talk about your grandmama a little bit. We all got strong Black mamas and grandmamas. I come from a strong set. Fode's mama was a preacher, preacher with strong background. So we had that in us. We was raised by strong mothers. So now tell us about your grandmama and your inner strength.
Well, my grandmother, yes, definitely. When it comes to inner strength, my grandmother. Well, as I just said, I lost my grandmother October 2nd of of this year. So she's the wind. She was the wind beneath my wings. I'm trying to keep it together, keep from getting a little emotional because this is touchy because I just lost her a month ago.
So sorry.
But
Condolences.
thank you. But when my mom and my dad divorced, we was little. So we always lived next door to my grandmother. So all my life, was my grandmother is the only person that I knew as far as my motivation, my inner strength. She just, she kept me encouraged. When my mom had to go, to get a second job to make sure that we was okay, grandma was the one that kept us because we live actually next door to her. So my grandma was the first one that taught me how to fish. There's been plenty of days, but we lived on a very long dirt road. She would walk me to the end of the road to catch the bus. She taught me, she said, she was the first person, I never knew what that meant. She was like, life is going to give you a lot of lemons. You just have to learn how to make lemonade. I'm like, what? What is that? But then actually, as I got older, I understood exactly what she said because, she kept me grounded into, she prayed with me. She showed me how to cook. She wasn't a driver, so she never drove. So that was something my brothers helped me do. But she showed me like how to make small meals to feed many. When I was at my lowest point in life, she told me how to, what to hold on to, how to keep that fire inside of me lit, because she said that small fire inside of you one day is going to spark into a big flame. She said, I just need you to keep, she always felt that it was something special about me. She said, I had the strength of a lioness, and I could not understand what she meant. But when she passed away, all of that came back to me because she's the one that actually gave me the name Keep On Keeping On. It's inspired by her because when I would go through my storms, because my grandmother took a lot of my secrets with her when she passed away.
Yeah, we all got one of them grandmas that did. I know my grandmamas did the same, and my aunties.
Right. So she, when I would go through my trials and tribulations, she would say, baby girl, it'll be just fine. She said, you're strong. She said, you have that S on your chest. She said, if it's in God's will, just keep on keeping on. Things will turn out just fine. And then so when I went through a storm before I wrote this particular book, and a lot of us in our culture don't talk about it, when my 2020 COVID, where my one and only daughter didn't want to live anymore, and then she decided that she wanted to try to commit suicide. So thank God it was not successful, and prayer does work because that's a whole different story. I'll tell you about that later. But Granny was the one that held me together. She just told me, she's like nothing is going. She said, just as long as you stay focused and you do what you're supposed to do, everything else will fall in line. And so she just was the wind beneath my wings. There was nothing I could not ask her for. And I'm not talking about monetary, just for her to sit there and listen to me, just for her to sit there and give me her wisdom. So just for her to share some of the things that she went through in her younger days, and I kept saying, if you could go through that with limited resources, then I know that I can go through that now in this generation. But she was just, my grandma was the glue of the family, and she left me with that big mantle that I have to carry now, because I am now the glue of the family.
Did she get to see your book published?
She did. My book was published in March of this year. So she did see, yes.
That's fantastic, man. That's great.
Yes.
Yeah, she sounds like a good woman. I know she probably
Sounds
was
like
a
a win.
church-going woman, spiritual woman, and all that.
Yes.
I know that's how them folks is down there in Bowman.
Right. And I never went without a meal, even when I was grown. So hey,
Yeah. That's hey, I can go anywhere out in the country now.
yes.
On my side of the family, don't need anything, and I know somebody will offer me a plate of food.
Yes.
You know, no matter where I go to out in Cope, I will not leave there without something on my belly.
Right. And nobody's ever a stranger, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Nobody's ever a stranger.
Yeah.
Right.
With all of that though, you must have had to have come out of your comfort zone, because that takes a lot of strength. And I know you had to, you had to build it up somehow. You had to leave your comfort zone to accomplish what you have accomplished.
Absolutely.
So can you give us some insight on that?
Yes, that was yes, I did have to come out of my comfort zone. When I took the leap, and I call this the leap, which is Columbia is not that far from Bowman, but it's a leap for me for being a country girl. I've only been here 4.5 years. And I found myself being homesick when I first moved here. Because
Homesick for Bowman?
Yes, because I missed yes, I'm for real.
You don't hear that too much.
I know, but see, that's the thing about it. My mom and my grandmother, and my parents, my mom, my dad, and my grandmother, and even I am the close knit of everybody in the family. Everybody calls me. I'm around everybody. Everybody have to see me. Everybody have to check on me. So it's like I missed that, So it's been days when I came here in Columbia, and I was like, and I would sit on my front porch, and I'm like, oh my goodness, there's nobody visiting to me. I don't hear, I don't have family coming over because my mom is not driving on the interstate. That's a no. My grandmother did drive, so my dad has gotten older, so he drives when he needs to. But it was just like getting out that comfort zone actually expanded my territory.
Mm-hmm.
I was placed in the right. I was placed in the right place at the right time. I think there's no such thing as being in coincidence, because I end up moving next 7 houses down from a lady that I got on a virtual call with, and she's also an author, but one of her good friends was a publisher that introduced me to her, which got me on my author journey. I did my first collaboration with them. So getting out that comfort zone, actually, it was hard for me at first, but I know it was all in the plan.
Oh wow, that's pretty interesting that you was just in the right place at the right time.
Exactly.
So now you know now that you have a big responsibility now to carry on for your grandma. She gave you some big shoes to fill.
Yes. Because I went to her first, and I thought about it. I told her I wanted to move, and I wanted to move closer to work. And she said, what she normally tell me to do, pray about it. She said the answer will come. And she said, if the answer doesn't come, the opportunity will come. If the opportunity will come, that's your answer. And it happened just like that. Mm-hmm. The opportunity came unexpectedly. And then I end up here. And then, of course, like you say, I have some big shoes to fill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yes, you do. What are you going to be working on in the future? I know you got something else planned, another great book in the works.
I have 3 other projects in the works, actually. I have 3? Yes. Hey, you opened the door. I was being modest.
That's good.
I have 3. I have which one I spoke about earlier. I have my poetry book that I'm working on. Then I have another solo project book, which is actually book that I'm working on. That's 2. And then I'm also trying to put together a coaching, like a coaching where I can help people understand that your journey is your journey, and nothing that anybody else can do can stop your journey if you stay on course. So that's my keep on keeping on journey. Coaching is what I'm working on. So I have 3.
Right.
What I want to ask, since you're an inspirational speaker, and this question just came to me, like you've heard of like people like Les Brown and Maya Angelou and those kind of people. Were you ever inspired by those people like that?
Well, actually, Les Brown, I charge it to my head and not my heart. Les Brown, I didn't really follow him as much until maybe a couple of years ago. I want to say 2 years ago, maybe. I actually went to an event that he actually was which he was the speaker of that event. And some of the things that he says, talking about his grandmother, his mother, his adoptive mother, that lit a fire underneath me. That made me think, like, okay, he touched some things in me that I knew that it kind of resonated with me really well. Maya Angelou, as far as she goes, I love her poetry. She's super duper. She was super duper amazing. I didn't even think about me writing poetry, to be honest. I totally forgot about it. This might sound a little weird. But sometimes life happens, and some things you forget about that you actually do. Until a friend of mine reminded me that I wrote poetry a couple of times when I was younger. And she said something to me. She said, do you still write poetry? I was like, I wrote poetry. And she was like, you did. And it resonated with me. And I thought about it. I said, you know what? I did wrote poetry, but it's still like people say, if you don't use it, you'll lose it. But when I started writing my book, I started getting back downloads of poetry. So I think I wrote maybe 15 poems in maybe 2 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yes.
Wow,
Yeah.
great.
So it's still there.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you really are a workaholic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, what's your connection with young people out there?
Well, with young, and that's my main. Well, my book is mostly. I go to I honestly volunteer a lot for young people events, like teen summits, because they are our future, and I want them to understand that they have to tap into the greatness that they have, and don't let the influential things in the world influence them to to do otherwise. I have a 13-year-old, and I speak to his youth group and his friends all the time, because they look up to me, because again, people don't even know where Bowman, people never heard of Bowman. A lot of people here look at me like, where's that? And then when I go back and pull up on my phone, let them see, the things that I've been through as a young person, then they realize that, hey, if she can do it, I can do it too. But I want them to see that, hey, I was not perfect. My childhood wasn't perfect. I made plenty of mistakes, but if you stay on course, stay on the right track, get a better circle of association, then all good things are possible. So I target more of the younger group, because I have grandchildren, and I want them, the things that I would do for my grandchildren, I would do for anybody else children.
That's powerful.
That's good. No, I'm kind of surprised. She said grandmother. She don't look like no grandmama. She got a young face there, but that's good. That's cool. Yeah, we're gonna have to get you to maybe come by the library one day. Well, you already know DeAndrea. Maybe you can come and do a reading or something like that.
Awesome.
I mean,
I will love it because I've been trying to connect with a lot. I've been out of it trying to get back acclimated for the last 30 days since the passing of my grandmother. But I've been trying to write out some visions to see how can I connect with the younger people in the community, come back home, connect with the younger community. I just want to be inspiration. I don't just want to motivate them. Don't let your mistakes define who you are, because your mistakes do not define you. Where you started from does not mean where you're gonna end up at.
That's right.
You're absolutely right, and you're on the right track, because I personally know that people speak highly of you, Dr. Curry, Sister Myra, and some other authors that were there, Brianna Parker, and all of them. All of them spoke highly of you, so I know you're on the right track.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that confirmation.
I was going to say the same thing too. Like, man, it's a very beautiful narrative. It's such a fruitful story that you've given us here. Just catching what we call the divine wisdom from the elders, from the ancestors, and then being here as the embodiment of that, and knowing that now it's your mission to keep that information, to keep that spirit, keep that vibe going. You said your grandma passed away. I said no, she didn't. She passed it on to you, and you carrying it well. Anything we can ever do to assist you in getting your message across to more of our people, because I believe that right now there's so many mischievous people spreading messages just for themselves, and I don't see any selfishness in your message. Your full message is to empower other people through the wisdom that you gain through your life and that you obtain from your life in little old Bowman. And it's beautiful. It's a very, very beautiful story. If you can do it, anybody else can do it. I commend you. I commend you highly. I guess the one thing I want to ask was, I know there's always goods and bads to everything, pros and cons, right? I want to back up a little bit, all the way back, right? Going back to let's say your childhood, teen years, growing up in Bowman. What were the pros and cons? What were the challenges that you can look back now and say, "Yep, I see this. This made me stronger." What were the cons? I mean, the pros, the things that was just like good in your life that you can look back and say, "Wow, I realize now that I'm in Colombia, that many people here in this environment didn't have the benefit of this pro." Can you break that down? What's the pros and cons of coming from Bowman and small communities like Bowman from your experience?
This is a shock for you to ask me that question. Whether you don't know, because I've just actually met you. I'm gonna give you a little hint of it, because my next book is going to be about some of the pros and cons of coming from the country.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So when you said that, I was like, wow. Yes. So it is wow. Coming from the country, as you know, as I look at it now, I know that there was a lot of things that what we consider lack of, but that made us stronger as far as using what we had to get more out of the little less that we had. It allowed us to appreciate the stuff that we did have, that we could not have, that we was unable to get because of either the distance from grocery stores, the main commodities, pharmacies, that type of thing. We grew a lot of the vegetables. I remember my grandfather had an entire, when I say an entire, I didn't even understand how pigs and all of that worked, but he had an entire, I guess, pig farm in the backyard, so it was a lot of things that I saw in Bowman that that I just I would not have become the person I am today, because we understood that we looked out for each other. You can walk next door if you need a cup of sugar or you need some flour because you were short. It was no judgment. We was our own best friends to each other. But then when I came Colombia, it's fast paced. Nobody really knows you here. You're just somebody that lives in Colombia. Then you have access to so much stuff, but then the gratitude here is so much different than the gratitude back home. Back home in Bowman, you're grateful to have. The lack of in Colombia, there's less gratitude because they're used to having, to be accessible to everything. You can't walk next door to your neighbor's house and ask, can you, I'm short on some sugar. Can I get a cup of sugar over here? They're gonna look at you like you crazy. Like, why are you at my house? But see, back in the country, we all looked out for each other. Like my dad would say, you scratch my back, I scratch your back. That's how we did it in Bowman. So there's a lot of there was so much freedom more in Bowman. You learn so much valuable lessons as far as going out, learn how to cut your grass. Back then we hung clothes on the clothesline. But it's so many nuggets that we learned back home. When you come here, everything is fast living. You pay somebody to cut your grass. You have your own laundry. You have laundry mats. You have your own wash and dryer. You don't grow your own fruits because your yard is not vegetable because your yard is not big enough because everything is placed so closely together. But back home, you're so far out. You have so much opportunities. Back home compared to here. But I wouldn't give up both. I'm not taking away from both experiences. It's just that Bowman is, even though I know you probably say, "Are you serious?" I mean, that if I got older, and my kids got older, if I had an opportunity to move back home, I would, because I had the experience of actually living in Colombia. But it's just the fact that this country life it's a little different. You just feel more homey and hearty and loving it. Everybody there is grateful for what they have.
Yeah.
I know exactly how you feel because I was born here in Orangeburg, but I grew up in New York, and I remember I told my grandparents, I told them this many times. I said, I ain't never coming back down south. I ain't never coming back down. I ain't never coming here. Oh God! But look where I'm at, and I love it here, man.
Yeah.
So I've had the experience of growing up in the city and the country life and everything. But yeah, I remember telling my grandparents, my grandmother, she said, "You're gonna regret those words, boy. You'll regret that." And sure enough, I've been back home now close to 20 years. So I love it here. It's all good.
That's wild. It's kind of the same way as well. I think it's a matter of, rural life versus urban life, the proximity of people and access to the land, and just like you said earlier, you said the freedom. And what I've learned about freedom is that it's very subjective. It's very mental. It's very emotional. It's not necessarily always something that you can define physically, but you can define the state of being it. And when you say you feel free at home, it is it just reminds me how people here in Africa often experience it as well. Here in Sierra Leone, a lot of people who live in the capital city where I live in Freetown, their parents or them, they were born in the country. They were born up in the villages. And you can literally tell the difference, like you said, in terms of appreciation value, what people appreciate coming from either side of the equation, how they place value, and how that connection works. I remember growing up in Pennsylvania, and my mother was from Orangeburg, and her uncles, the elders, every time they left Pennsylvania, I-95 to Orangeburg, they always had a list of things and a list of people to see and things to check up on, and then turn around and come right back. So we bought a lot of our watermelons, a lot of our peaches, a lot of our stuff from down south, pecans, stuff from down south, from our people down south. And I wanted to ask you just about your life growing up being basically in a farming environment. One, are you still a farmer? Two, for Black farmers in the state of South Carolina, especially for those of us who still out there in the rural areas, and we can grab onto some of that land and turn it over into some farming. Is there any vision for that for Bowman? Because your whole explanation for Bowman is like it sounds like a food depot. Like we can just grow food, just like the same way your grandfather had all the pigs, and like we used to feed ourselves. And if you look at Columbia, I guarantee we ain't up there feeding ourselves right now. Most of the people from them saying they from small towns just like Bowman, but they ain't doing no farming though. We ain't controlling our market.
You're right. One, do I still farm? No. Living here, there's not, the communities here are so small. And it all depends on what part of Columbia you live in. You have to be mindful of what you can and cannot do on your property, especially if there's like a homeowners association. So certain things you can and cannot do. But if you live in certain areas of Columbia, you may can set up some places on your property to grow fruits and vegetables. So no, I do not still do any farming. Unless I go home to my dad, him and I will go outside, and then I'll help him, like he would say, play in the dirt. But as far as Bowman, I really think that there's so much. No, let me not say I think. I know there's so much potential there in Bowman. I think that we would need to have more places to open up, like a farmer's market, where we can continue to grow those fruits and vegetables, because now the younger generation, they don't do as much as what I'm used to growing up with my grandmother and my uncles, where you see a whole lot of people have vegetables in their yard, beans and cucumbers and all of that. We need to get back to that. And a lot of the younger generation did not take time to learn those values. So a lot of those values needs to be taught. There needs to be courses that needs to be provided somehow to get that back into effect, because there's so much potential there. We just have to tap into it, and again, like I said, we have to have the right people in the right places, and we have to have a voice for it. And farming would be something that I was, love to continue to do, but at this moment I just can't because of where I reside.
Understood. Definitely, it's one of the things that I'm motivated to do. I grew up in the city, but my mother always had a backyard garden, and she would even split half of what she grow with you to use your backyard. She grew spearmint tea. She grew basic things that she knew she might have to turn to some medicine or some food. And so just growing up, I would help her with that. But as I grew older, especially as I migrated and repatriated back to Africa, I said, man, I want to be a farmer. you know, and the last 7 years, about 7 years, that's what I've been doing. Every season, every rain season, I make sure I plant some seeds, and whatever grows, I make sure that it goes where it's supposed to go. It's not really about the money. It's about developing the skill and doing the act.
Mm-hmm.
Even here, the attitude towards farming, I would say, is poor. A lot of young people, they don't. The last thing they want to do,
Yes.
they relate farming to slavery. They
Yes.
relate farming to hard labor and
Mm-hmm.
poor wages, and it's because we haven't economized it yet to the point that it's a full economy, from planting the seed to getting it to the consumer market. We haven't really developed the full system, and so it's not rewarding to the average person in the way that it should be. And so it's one of the things that I'm very enthusiastic about as well, figuring out how best more of us can involve and engage in a form of agriculture that can reduce hunger. Hunger is a big, big thing. Malnutrition is a big, big thing. A
Yes.
lot of the sicknesses that we're suffering over there because of the toxins in the food, and our grandparents was living 100 years
Yes.
because they ain't have them toxins. You know, great grandma ain't had to get her breast chopped off. She didn't know nothing about no breast cancer. You understand? Prostate cancer, who? For what? It's because what we was consuming, not only as food but as medicine as well. Um, so absolutely, I'm always saying that because I know Baba Akimo, he got some land out there, some family land. I'm always like nudging him, saying, "Hey, cuz, tools and seeds, cuz, tools and seeds, cuz. Take some
Yeah.
babies out there. Take them babies out there and show them how to plant some food, man. Give it to
Hey,
them for free. Give it to them for free.
yeah,
Take some low income people out there and give them some land."
yeah. Like Bernie said, I used to be out there with my grandfather and uncles, but and I know some people who plant little gardens and stuff now, but it's not like it used to be.
Mm-mm.
But it's not like it used. And we do have a farmers market here in Orangeburg and everything. That in the library, we have some people that come by the library on a weekly basis in the summer times to and they bring fresh um, fruits and vegetables and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, Miss Bernice, we are coming to the end of our hour here. But I got something I always like to ask um, forward as you're going into the future. Um, three words, 3 words to describe Bernice as she goes forward.
As she goes forward, 3 words. I'm going to say encourage. Bernice has to stay encouraged. Faith. Bernice gonna have to keep the faith to stay encouraged to keep on keeping on. And inspire. Bernice wants to keep to be an inspiration to the masses.
That's very good, and I'm gonna
That's it.
I'm gonna put that down in my book because I like to keep a track of what these things people say. I'm glad we had the opportunity to bring you on and let you tell us about your book and speak of your wonderful grandmother and your experiences. And if we got your information, we got your contact information here, and if there's anything we can do, you can reach out to us. Um, we're here to assist any way we can.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, for sure. For sure. Any updated information you need us to help you get out there, let us know. Tag us on Facebook and post. I'm so happy to meet you, sister, and I'm looking forward to seeing how best we can work together to magnify our voices. Um, I've been in Africa over 10 years, but it's like Orangeburg is my womb, so to speak. So
Okay.
my mama from there. Her
Okay.
mama from there. They go back and back and back. So Orangeburg is my womb. No matter where I go, I have a spiritual umbilical cord connected to Orangeburg. You hear me?
I love it.
So, um, with that being said, I'm also very careful about Orangeburg, caring for Orangeburg. I know that the county in the town is suffering right now from a lot of unnecessary infighting, a lot of criminality, a lot of corruption, even in governance and things like that. But I feel like we're assets. We're assets. We have to be the ones like those who came before us that understood the mission and got to work without asking questions or making apologies. That's just who we are. We Orangeburg bred is what it is. It's a spiritual connection here. And so I just want to encourage you to keep going. You the one telling everybody to keep on. But I'm going to tell you to keep on keeping on because we need you in the field. I want to say if you have any last words, now is the time. And I'm going to be also saying that everyone out there can get with Sister, follow her on Facebook and Instagram as you see at the bottom of the screen. I asked her where we can get the book from. Keep on keeping on, growth. And of course, you can get on Amazon. Go check that out. Again, the author is Bernice Johnson. For anyone else, get in contact with her right here on the email, johnsonbernice829@gmail.com. Any questions, any books you may need, anything you need from this sister, feel free. It's our job to bring to you the new talent, the old talent, the best of the best from our region, from our world, and make sure that you know who they are so you know how to get to them when you need them. Bernice, thank you so much for today.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. This was awesome.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
So
whenever you're in Orangeburg, come by the library and visit me.
Okay, I will. I promise. It'll be soon.
All right.
Okay.
Absolutely. All right, sister. Peace.
All right. Peace.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Well, Chief, another powerful episode.
Another powerful episode. Do you have anything, last words? Anything out there for the people, man, that we're looking forward to in Orangeburg or anywhere else in the corridor? I see they got some festivals going on.
Well,
how we going to get connected?
Well, I hear that we may be getting contacted by some people. Can't say too much right now about it, but there's some things coming down the pike. It's that time of the year. For me, fall time, winter time is when you make things happen. Growing up in the city, that's when we used to make things happen. Summertime was for fun, wintertime was for business. So we're in the business session right now, and just it is what it is. This is the Gullah House Show. I'm glad that we had an opportunity to talk to Sister Bernice, and I enjoyed it. It was very good show.
Oh,
She's very powerful.
She's a dynamic sister, man. She's a dynamic sister. You know, I love the fact that she's coming from Bowman. I love just the fact that it's coming from that location. You know, it's very slept on. Most people don't know it, but to see that she's a giant. She's a giant in consciousness.
She's homegrown.
Yeah, man. So I'm gonna fall back, man. Take care of this mouth, man. You know, I got this swollen tooth going on, man. But Bernice, no doubt. Bernice, we'll have to do it again very, very soon, all right?
All right.
Absolutely. All right, Baba. I'm gonna let you go.
One fam boo.
Yes, sir.